Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Charity Charge Show. This is Grayson Harris, and today we are absolutely thrilled to have Hilary Axmeyer. She is the Chief Program Officer of the Hole in the Wall Game Camp on the show today. She's going to be jumping into a little bit of her personal journey with the camp, but leading up to really this expansion that they are really undertaking this year and opening a second location, which is really exciting. Hilary, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Grayson. I'm thrilled to be here, and I always am thrilled to have the opportunity to share about all the goodness that the Hole in the Wall Game Camp is up to.
And I'm really excited to dive in. First, I'd like to start with, the name, the Hole in the Wall Game Camp. Tell me a little bit
Yeah,
more where that comes from and what
absolutely.
that iconography means for the kids that are coming out to your camp.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a mouthful, and we often get questions about our names. So I'll do a little history with this. So the Hole in the Wall Game Camp was founded in 1988 by famous actor and philanthropist Paul Newman. And for our Paul Newman fans out there, Paul Newman starred in a number of movies, but one that is our favorite in the Hole in the Wall world was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is a true story. About 150 years ago, outlaws played by Paul Newman. He was an outlaw, and this gang that they had was the Hole in the Wall gang. And Paul Newman, what really resonated from that movie when he was founding the Hole in the Wall Game Camp was the sense of mischievousness and childhood and community. So Paul Newman always spoke about luck and specifically the benevolence of luck in his life and then in turn the brutality of it in lives of children who had a serious health condition. And so he went to camp as a child. Camp was important to him, and he decided to do something really good with that luck that he had experienced, and he founded the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp. And the Hole in the Wall was one of the very first camps in the country to serve children with serious medical conditions. And that name, the Hole in the Wall Gang Camp, came from from one of his famous movies. And our site in Ashford, Connecticut, our site is in Connecticut in the northeast corner. It looks like it's right off the movie set of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. So it has a real Wild West vibe. And so it's really magical for our kids and families to experience. Really, you step into camp and it's like going through a portal. You actually travel up the road. There's big boulders as you drive in, really to create that feeling that you are traveling through the hole in the wall and then discovering this incredible space where we talk a lot about healing and special connections being made.
I love that. And you mentioned, traveling through the camp. And I know it really is near and dear to your heart because your journey with the camp started actually as a camp counselor.
Yes,
Can
it
you tell
did.
me a little bit more about what your, first journey kind of
Yeah.
stepping into camp felt like
Oh my goodness.
and
Yes.
really what that brought up? Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago, about, gosh, 25 years ago. Yes, 25 years ago. I was in college. I had gone to camp growing up, not at the Hole in the Wall, but I was a big camp kid. I loved camp. I loved the magic of camp. I loved how I felt the independence. I felt so good about myself when I was experiencing the magic of sleepaway camp specifically. And when I was 18, learned about the Hole in the Wall King Camp, and I learned, and to me, I was very interested in medicine and public health and social work. And so these two interests of camp and then doing something good around children who are experiencing health challenges, I said, I need to be there. I need to go there. And so for my very first summer in 2001, showed up. Luckily, I was selected. It was very competitive to be a cabin counselor or program counselor. I was selected to work in our boathouse. And so I had the incredible opportunity to be responsible for all the boating and fishing.
Amazing.
And I think very fortunate, Paul Newman loved to fish. And so in my position, I had the great privilege of also getting to know Paul Newman when he still regularly would come to camp.
That is incredible. And, you mentioned your responsibilities, overseeing, fishing and boating. Today, that's expanded
Yeah,
quite a bit. Since
it
then, you
has.
you have, ran the camp as camp
Yes.
director
Yep.
and are now, in charge of the overall programs and services. You have grown within your role at the organization, but the camp itself has expanded as well. Can you speak a
Yeah.
little bit more to some of this expansion that has gone on in these, 25 years that
Yeah.
you've been working with the camp?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen when I first started full time, I did a number of summers as a counselor, and then I really at that point dedicated my career to this. I believe when I first started, we had a staff of about 40 people. Today, we're at about 120 staff in our full time capacity. So I've really experienced the growth firsthand. Something I'm really proud of, and I'm really proud of our organization, is that we have really learned from our families and our campers and our participants about where to go, maintaining our mission, maintaining what's really important to us, and continuing to serve our families and our campers and our participants broader and deeper. So, allowing for expanded hospital outreach programs, which I can speak about, but ultimately, we're in more than 40 hospitals, all from the East Coast, all the way down to the Northeast, all the way down to the Mid Atlantic region. So, Boston, essentially all the way through to DC, where we have a team of 30 full time specialists that bring that healing and magic of camp directly to hospitalized children so they don't have to wait to come to camp once a year. We recognized that the magic that's happening at camp, we can bottle it all up, and bring it to the kids and to the families that need it in the hospitals. Also, we learned that kids look forward to camp so much all year around. We hear from our families that a child gets home from their week at camp and they repack their bag right away for the following year. And so we want to provide more continuity for them because this community they are part of has become so impactful as part of that healing journey. So our really smart team created a family outreach program where we not only serve our families, parents, and caregivers on site because they're part of this family that's affected by this illness, but we also go directly to our families. And so we have a mobile camp unit called Camp Out where we do home visits to our campers. We host regional events and we also host events just for our parents and caregivers where we bring new families who are experiencing camp for the first time all together, all expense paid retreat at a lovely hotel where our team of magic makers create a space where our parents and caregivers can connect with one another and share about their journey. They can sit in the same room and they can say, "You get it. You know what I'm going through." They don't even have to talk about diagnoses. Maybe they do, but they can just say, "You know what we're experiencing," and that connection can be healing just in and of itself.
That is incredible. Really, the word that came to my mind is building this community, right?
Absolutely.
Where these families are going through life-changing illnesses, right? And their kids that can, I'm sure, really feel alienating
Yeah,
between
isolating. Absolutely.
isolating, really, between
Yep.
their existing connections and bring this sense of people together that are going through similar events within their life. I'm sure it is incredible both for the kids that are coming out to the camp and the camp's coming out to them, but then also for, as you mentioned, the parents and care.
And the siblings as well.
Of
We
course.
host a session at the end of the summer that's for our camp program, our residential camp program, where we invite siblings of our diagnosed children to come to camp alone so they can experience that magic of camp as well. And it's an opportunity for them to be able to share that experience, but separately, because so much of their lives revolve around the diagnosed child. And so to be able to provide that same sort of attention and support has proven really, really helpful for the entire family dynamic. So we really focus on the entire impacted family, the siblings, the parents, the caregivers, and of course the diagnosed child as well.
It's amazing. And on that note of impact, is there I'm sure every single case is a little bit unique. Is there any through lines from your families that are coming to camp and the kids that are impacted that you really would like to share in terms of what hole in the wall, the camp is changing for their lives during that time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the impact from a research and evaluation perspective, we do see through our research and qualitative and quantitative data that there's the sense of hope that we see with our families, connection. One thing that I really love to see year over year is the ability for our children to make friends increases after their time at camp. And you think back to our conversation around isolation. A lot of our children are missing school, are missing birthday parties, are missing the sleepovers, are missing these opportunities to make friends. And so the opportunity for them to learn how to make friends is really critical. And we're seeing that in our program, that increases over their time with us.
Incredible, really the quality of life,
Absolutely.
that aspect of care that is
Yep.
oftentimes a lot harder to quantify and
Yeah.
also improve and change
Yeah.
is really the impact,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, and we see, we have the data, but most importantly is, what I see it with our families, and
Yeah.
when I was the camp director and when I've been closer to the program, what a privilege it is to witness that. You see families coming in for a family weekend and their shoulders are up here and they're stressed and they're not so sure what's going on and who to talk to, and then, I don't know, give it 6 hours and they're dancing and they're relaxed and they're smiling and they're having fun. So you genuinely can see our families just taking that deep breath out, and feeling that peace, that sense of relief and respite because they can see their children having fun and they're connecting with other people.
That man, thank you for sharing all of this, and
Yeah,
that
of
really kind of
course.
brings us to this year, right?
Yes.
With the goal of expanding the services to a new region. Can you tell me a
Yeah.
little bit more about, I am sure, the years of foundational work that has gone into
Yes.
the
Yes.
undertaking of opening up this new camp out there in Maryland, and what's
Yes.
got you excited?
Yeah, so this is a real dream of ours, and we are right getting close to that finish line. So a number of years ago, almost 10 years ago, we did a needs assessment. Once we began thinking about this potential and the opportunity for us to be able to expand to the Mid-Atlantic region. Currently in our camp program, we do serve hospitals in this region in Philadelphia and the DC metro area, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and some of these kids travel all the way from those areas all the way up to Connecticut to experience the on-site programs. So we did a needs assessment a number of years ago to identify if there was enough children diagnosed with serious and rare and ultra rare diseases that there would be a need for another residential site, a second location, a hole in the wall location. And sure enough, there was. And so we began a long journey to be able to identify a location and a renovation that we've just completed on this beautiful site that we acquired along the eastern shore of Maryland in Queenstown, right over the bridge. And we have about 180 acres of land that was gifted to us, from the Aspen Institute, an incredibly generous,
Yeah.
generous gift, where we have just completed a renovation on 6 existing buildings, that will allow us to begin programming in May of this year. And we will
Okay.
first begin programming for our families. And so in Ashford, we offer both residential programs for our kids in an independent camp program way and also through family camps. So in Maryland, we're going to start with family camps, and we will be able to serve children through this model with rare and ultra rare diseases, potentially a different acuity level than even what we're seeing in Ashford, because their parents and caregivers will be with them in this model. Down the road, we are also very excited to build out a full independent camp program, and so we will welcome children in an independent camp program down the road. We're working with an architect to design that site. But first and foremost, we are so excited to start welcoming families in May. We've hired a medical director, we have a nursing director, we have a fantastic camp director on site, and several other program staff as well to get this launched for our first family weekend, May 8th.
That is incredible. And what are some of the challenges that went into expanding to a new community where, the kids that you are serving, they're still going through similar types of challenges and life events with their families. But maybe the type of community that you are supporting is a little bit different. What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been from an organizational perspective to get to this point, there was, it's a lot of change and change comes quickly. And so trying to work within our organization, our existing staff, and be able to figure out how uh, to manage the significant change, this fairly quick change, and ensure that the growth is going to meet the needs of our new families and our patients, but that we're going to maintain the mission, the culture, the community, and really stay true to what Paul Newman started almost 40 years ago. And so I think our organization has done that in a really thoughtful way to include our staff in who are our experts and our families and our campers having opportunities to get their insight and their perspective on what this should look like and how we should roll this out and what's going to be different in Maryland versus what we do in Connecticut. And then, of course, as you know, we are a nonprofit, we are a charity, and so to be able to get the funds and all the fundraising ready to go for this phase, it's a big process. So we have to build up our team, our development team, our program team, in order to get them ready to be able to do all the work to one day have a site that really mirrors the same capacity that we have in Connecticut. So it's been a big shift.
Yeah.
I'm really excited around the of how, where we are, and that we're doing it. We're starting.
Yeah.
And it's been a long road, and one that will ultimately result with us serving more families who really need us the most.
Amazing. The piece that really stood out to me that you shared is, you don't want as you scale to lose sight of that mission, right? And also that really individualized approach in
Yeah,
care that it really
yeah,
sounds like your team and the camp is able to provide for the kids.
yeah,
What would you say, for our audience that's listening in, that's also maybe looking at how do we scale our mission and impact, to impact more lives? Was it really getting that feedback from your community that was the
yeah.
the most insightful piece of that, or was there anything else that really stood out to you in that process?
Yeah, really exactly what you said, but I think it's worth pausing on that for a second because our staff, our board of directors, they are that is the magic, right? I mean, the buildings, they're beautiful, the accessibility, the inclusion, everything, the programming, that is all so impactful, but it is our incredibly talented, good people that do this work and make these connections and allow for the space for our families to feel connected, the safety, the medical process. And so ensuring that our staff have a voice in this and that the leadership team within the organization as well as our board are really communicating around change. It's thinking about change management and how we approach that and how we do it in a way that's going to get us to where we need to get to serving children this May in Maryland, but also ensuring that our existing programs continue to be celebrated, funded, and that we're not losing sight of that foundation. And we're not, because it all started at this place in Connecticut, and we have learned so much along the way. So continuing to take all the lessons that we've learned and put them into what we are doing in Maryland, whether that's from the family outreach program, the hospital outreach program, our camp program, and then ultimately all of those ingredients make the magic happen in Maryland as well.
Amazing. And this is a really exciting time here in May. I can't wait to see how it goes. How can our audience get more involved with the expansion and those incredible foundations out there?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yes, there is a lot of opportunities. This is the part that gets me all excited. So, please check out our website at www.holeinthewallgang.org, and you will see a lot of opportunities to support us financially and, just as importantly, volunteering. So we really rely on volunteers and our community to support our programming. So please, please, please check it out. It's just, especially if you're in that community. The community around us in Queenstown and Maryland has been so welcoming. They're so excited about this. So check us out on our website.
100%. My favorite thing on the website I just want to call out, there's this amazing roadmap, right, that y'all have. And that really
Yeah.
speaks to some of these incredible milestones and lessons and programs that have expanded. So I'm excited to see, as 2025 is added to that, right? And a new camp
Absolutely.
location, that growth and progress
Yeah,
story.
it's the next on this journey for us to be able to
Yeah.
serve kids on site and really where they're at, and as well as their parents and caregivers.
Well, Hillary, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I've really enjoyed learning more about your personal journey within the camp, the impact that it had on you and your career and your life. And then also, this expansion that is going on this summer and the lessons that have been learned along that way that has led to this ultimate kind of point that we're at today.
Well, it's great to chat with you. Thanks for taking the time to learn more about what we're doing.